In this video I want to give you a quick introduction to Emacs macros, and I will show you a practical example where you would want to probably use macros, and that is with this. So I've recently decided to learn stenography again, which is kind of a typing technique. Well, I don't want to get into it in this video. Point being, you kind of have to type chords instead of individual letters, and each chord is bound to or each word has one or more chords bound to it. I like, for example, this. So how you would type obvious and I am talking about plover stenography. So you don't have to understand any of this to understand Emacs macros. I just want to explain the example to you. So how you would type obvious is with the letters O, or with the keys O, F, and B. Again, doesn't really matter. So I've decided, because I don't obviously know all these mappings, to create a little script which opens up the menu. So if I hit Super S, it opens up the menu, and I can search for something, and it will show me all the mappings for the word something. So for example, you can type something by hitting S and G, or ST and G, or S and GS, or no, that will type some things, and so on and so forth. So I hope you get the point. And what I thought I would do is kind of collect all these things I look up into a file, because then I can, of course, kind of parse this file and see, okay, what do I look up the most, and then maybe write it out on a cheat sheet and whatnot. And this is this file. And as you can also see, the format is pretty bad. So I thought, okay, I will just echo the date. So I will put the date in here and then the thing I looked up. But as you can see, there are dates without things I looked up, and the date is on a separate line, and then the thing I looked up is on the next line. And this is of course terrible for parsing, because you would have to do like grep -b all the time and stuff like that. So it's super annoying. And I mean, the script was kind of quick and dirty, and I didn't really think about it that much. And this is why this file looks the way it does. And so what does this have to do with Emacs macros? Well, this file is not that long, and the arrow is very inconsistent. So sometimes you have like 3 lines with like nothing in there, sometimes only 1 line. So it's kind of a good idea, I think, to step through this with a keyword macro and not write some elist function or something like that. So this is what I want to show you. Okay. So, I mean, Emacs macros are kind of simple. So you can either use the F keys to record a macro. So F3 starts the recording, and F4 ends it, and F4 also plays the macro. But what I like the kind of quote unquote old bindings more, which are like normal Control X bindings. So how you record a macro is as follows in Emacs. You hit Control X and then opening parentheses, and this will call K macro start macro. And then you will see down here defining KBD macro. And everything you type after that is defined in the macro. So I will type Control N to get the next line, and then I will type meta caret to kind of to join these lines, and then I will hit Control A and Control N again to get back to the next thing. And then when I'm done recording the macro, I hit Control X closing parentheses. Like this, and this will call K macro end macro. Alright, and to play this macro now, I hit Control X E, and this will play it. And if I want to, and it says down here, type E to repeat macro, and if I want to repeat it, like now, I can hit E again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So this is kind of the same if you have used Vim. It is kind of the same as hitting like @. But of course, add is 2 strokes, is 2 keys, and this is only 1, so it's pretty nice. So I can do this a bunch of times, and then I hit, in this example, I hit a case where I can't apply this anymore. So if I hit E, it will, well, because I scrolled with the mouse, I'm out of this Control E flow anyways. So, but I could also exit it with Control G. So I want to delete this line, KK, and then again call the macro, so I hit Control X E again. And yeah, so on and so forth. So, and you could probably automate this even more, because I think Emacs macros are very flexible in that regard. And I mean, let me just kind of delete these lines as well. So yeah, I think you kind of get the point. And so this is very comfortable using a macro. I mean, I would have to, like, it would be very, it would kind of be annoying to write like elisp for this. And a macro is just fine. So, okay, but I have another macro, and maybe it's a macro I want to, like, maybe it's not something trivial and like super specific to this error. Well, not super specific, but kind of specific to this singular error, which I hopefully won't make again. But maybe it's something more complex. You probably want to save the macro to persist it. How you can do this is as follows. You can hit Control X, Control K, N to name the macro, and this will call K macro name last macro. And I can now call it join two lines or something, and maybe prefix it with like macro, like that. And if I now do that, this macro is now saved or named. And what I can now do is, for example, go into my init.el, and I already have one, because I tested it, I already have one macro in here. And I can now insert this macro by hitting, by calling emacs insert kbd macro. So the kind of naming scheme is different for this. And then it lets me select macros I have named. So I have this test 01 delete line, because again, I tested it earlier. And now I want to insert this macro join two lines. And I can select them here and now hit enter to insert it here. And it will insert this def alias. Let me kind of remove this. It will insert this def alias macro join two lines, and then it will call k macro with the keys I hit when recording the macro. And this is also, I should have mentioned this earlier, if you name a macro, you can then call it from emacs. So you can do now macro join two lines, and it will, well, call the macro. Obviously. So yeah, and then you can bind this to like keys if you want to, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's pretty nice. But now let me get back to this. And now let's say, okay, so I have a more complex use case maybe, and I need to record another macro. So I can hit again Control X opening parentheses, and I can now record my macro. Maybe I just, like in this example, I would just delete a line. And yeah, that's fine. So I enter macro recording, and then I can, of course, play it again with Control XE. And I don't want to do this in this case. But what can I do if I now want to get to the previous macro? So what you can do is you hit Control X, Control K, and then you can hit Control N or P to kind of switch the macro. So it says down here which macro we are on. And if I hit that again, we are back on the join lines macro. So it kind of cycles through this. So it calls K macro cycle ring next. And because for the macros in Emacs, you also have a ring, like for undos or also for your clipboard, or for your kill ring, it's called, I think. So yeah, and if I now hit Control X, Control E, it will call this macro again. So yeah, oh, I looked up horizontally a lot, I guess. Okay, so so I think that's all the kind of basics you need to get started. And I want to give a quick shout out to Mastering Emacs, because they have this great page on keyboard macros and how they are misunderstood, because they can do way more than just what I showed you here. But they can, for example, also like speed up interacting with org mode, or like moving windows and layout, modifying the window layout and stuff like that, because they just record your key presses and are not tied to one buffer. Or they can call up a shell and execute commands in it, and so on and so forth. So, and there's also for example, so naming and saving. So I also ran through this. But there's also, for example, interactive keyboard macros. So you can record a macro, and if you hit Control XQ, it will kind of seed back control to you at that point. I mean, I can show that. I haven't tried that out, so maybe this will go terribly wrong. But let's try it anyway. So Control X, start record macro, and I will just insert some text maybe, I don't know, and go to the end of the line, insert more, I don't know. And let's just hit Control XQ. And if I now insert even more, and then stop the macro, and let me go, for example, I don't know, down here. And if I now play this again, it will stop at the point where I hit Control XQ. And it will then ask me, do you want to proceed with the macro? Yes. No will stop the macro. Return will, let me look it up. Return will, yeah, also, so this will skip the rest of the macro. This will stop the macro entirely. I don't know what's the difference between these two. Recenters the screen or enters recursive editing. So, and exits recursive editing. So this is very cool. I can now hit Control R and it will now let me edit. Like it will let me do whatever. So I can just undo this because I don't know. Maybe I think, well, this is a stupid macro. Well, maybe in that case I should change it. And if I now hit Control Meta C, so like this, it will ask me again. And if I hit now yes, it will insert even more, which was, so it will hit enter and then insert even more, which was the last part of the macro, which came after hitting Control XQ. So this is very, very cool. And you can nest these, you can do more breaks, you can you can just think about how much freedom that gives you in kind of what you do with your macros and whatnot. So yeah, this is very cool. I didn't think I wanted to show this in this video, but yeah, now I just thought, why not? I mean, it's kind of basic stuff, I guess. Yeah, so, and they have even more stuff here, so it's really great. I will link this page on my website in the video section if you want to look at it. And yeah, so I think Emacs macros are very powerful, and they are especially cool for a use case like this, which is too simple to warrant like an eList function or eList code in general, but also too complex to kind of, or too much work to edit by hand, and too complex to apply, for example, regex or something like that. Well, maybe in this case you could use regex, but I think macros are just simpler. So I just finished recording the video about macros, and I realized that it would be way simpler to use a regex actually. So I thought I'd just show that as well. So what I can do is hit Control Meta S to do a regex search forward, and then enter the regex I want to use. So in this case, I will enter the following. I will enter hyphen, then backslash open parentheses, then 2 dots, then backslash closing parentheses, and then I will hit, and this is now advanced stuff, really advanced, Control Q, Control J, then I will enter backslash opening quote, and then, so this is the regex to match everything you see highlighted here. So from the hyphen up until the opening quote on the next line, and then I will hit meta %, and this will now query me for the replacement. And what I want to replace it with is this hyphen \1. This will match. So \1 means, okay, insert what is in the first match, and this first match is enclosed by these backslash parentheses. So the 2 dots within here. So meaning the 2 last numbers here. And then what I want to next enter is a space, and then also the opening quote. So I hope this will work. No, invalid use of in replacement text. Oh yeah, so what the error was that I backslashed the opening quote in the replacement query, in the replacement text. So I fixed that, so I now replace it with hyphen \1 space and then just a normal quote without a backslash in front of it. Alright, so and now I can also step interactively through this, but it's way nicer, I think. Hopefully. So if I hit yes now, it will just replace it, and it's also a bit faster, it feels like it anyways. And yeah, this is really nice. And yeah, so I could just probably let this run through for the whole text. And what I can then do is just filter out all the lines that don't have quotes in them. And I would probably do this with shell scripting because yeah, that's just easier. Or maybe also with regex replacement, I guess. So yeah, oh yeah, let's do this with regex as well. So this might be a lengthy video. I mean, this has nothing to do with macros now. I just want to show you how I practically fix a problem like this. All right, I just hit exclamation mark to do for all the matches. And because the regex was fine and everything's fine. And what I can now do is go to the start of the buffer again and search for, let's just search for the following, like this. And yeah. So what I search for is, okay, I want to match all characters. So in these brackets, I specify the characters I want to match, and I want to match everything except for spaces. The caret means except for, and then a space, so everything but spaces. And if oh no, this is bad regex. I need to do rather the following. I need to do this to specify start of line, I think. Yeah, so this is better. So this now matches, okay, so the caret in front means, okay, this is the start of the line, the dollar sign means, okay, so the caret in front means this is the start of the line, the dollar sign means this is the end of the line, and in between there I want to have nothing but characters that are not spaces. So I don't want to have spaces in the line, is what this means. And this will of course now match all the lines that only have a date, because the date doesn't include a space. So if I now, oh, and what I want to do, oh no, I don't want to do the dollar sign thing. I rather want to do again CQ, CJ. So, and this will remove the line, the entire line now. So what I can now do is hit meta percent again and replace it with nothing. And so yeah, if I now hit yes, it will do all the things, hopefully. Yeah, so this is good. Oh, and it will replace, oh, I just noted that it will replace multiple lines, multiple only date lines all at once, because that's a, like, it kind of matches these four in this kind of star thing, because new lines are not treated as spaces, of course, or they are not spaces. So yeah, this is pretty nice, and I mean, I'm already done. This is way quicker than using macros, and I can remove this as well. So yeah, and I mean, this file is pretty good now. Like that's the format I want to have it in. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to show, and I can also show you the script. I also forgot that in the video. Where is it? stenoloookup.sh. And this is just kind of, again, this has nothing to do with macros. And this was the script beforehand. So these two lines right here. So as you can see, let me make this clearer. I just echo the date in here, and then I echo the output of this dmenu prompt in there as well. And of course, these are on two separate lines. And if this doesn't echo anything, because dmenu doesn't give anything, like output anything, this will only insert a date. So this is pretty dumb. And how I fix it is as follows. I first get the result of this dmenu prompt in a variable, then I check if the variable is the empty space. If you do this, you must enclose this in quotes, because otherwise, if there is nothing in this variable, it will complain about the construct not being, like, about the syntax, or about that there's nothing to compare to, or whatever, or the operator is somehow wrong, or something like that. And if it's not the empty string, and I do this with the or, I will echo the date in this format and the result into this file. So this is now on one line. And yeah, so if I mean, I can show this, why not? So we echo, I don't know, something, and I want to select stg, because that's how I want to type it, I don't know. And if I now go back to the stenoloookup and do a revert buffer, yes, you see that the final line is the thing I just looked up. Something. So yeah, pretty nice. And with regex, it was way easier. Maybe I should do a video on regex instead of keyboard macros. Well, I mean, yeah, I still hope you kind of learned about keyboard macros in Emacs. And maybe you have a better use case for them than I did in this video. Alright, yeah, that's it. Have a nice day.